Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this budget public hearing that we're holding tonight to give people additional opportunities to speak to us about the city's budget plan this year and/or American Rescue dollars. First person I'm going to call on is Mr. Pat McLaughlin, the Public Works Director.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, citizens in Norwich. I just wanted to come tonight to speak to the issue of the rec maintainers being moved over to the Public Works Department. I've heard some concerns and some fears that may have a negative impact on the maintenance of the recreational fields. Well, I want to assure everyone that will not have a negative impact. In fact, I think there's opportunity for improvement even on how some of those fields and spaces are maintained. The Public Works Department is made up of 55 people, and we have a division, we have 4 divisions, and one of them is Streets and Parks. And the Streets and Parks division has 32 people, hardworking, dedicated city employees. And I think by having the rec maintainers working with our crews in the same building, we will only enhance the way the parks and open spaces are maintained. It's in our title, it's in our definition of what we do, and I just want to ensure the public that there will be no let up in the maintenance or care of those fields. We take pride in what we do. The 3 maintainers will continue to take pride in what they do, and they'll have even more support with the Public Works Department. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Karen Redance.
Good evening, Mayor Nystrom, council members. My name is Karen Redance. Just a little background on myself. I'm a lifelong resident of Norwich, attended Broad Street School, Kelly Junior High, Norwich Free Academy. I have 3 children that I've raised here in Norwich. One is a graduate of the Norwich Free Academy, and 2 are currently still in school. I'm a teacher at the Norwich Free Academy. My children have played and participated in several sports and youth organizations in Norwich. I've been involved with the Norwich Youth Soccer Club for nearly 10 years. My dad was a Norwich police officer, transferred to the fire department, where he retired. My parents were longtime business owners for 30 years with Briarwood Driving Academy. My brother was a very successful, longtime public works worker. He retired recently after a very long and successful career. I share my background because I just really want you to understand my passion, that my family and I have a long invested interest in this community. I'm not someone new to this community. Tonight I'm here with other Norwich residents to speak to all of you to express our full support for the Norwich Recreation Department and help you to understand why we feel that merging public works and recreation is not in the best interest for the people of our community and our youth organizations. Tonight, so Cheryl, I've been working alongside Cheryl for many years, and she came to us, as some of you know, after a long and vacant position. She hit the ground running, making connections with all of us to improve our rec programs, working extra long hours, getting to know all the leaders in sports, youth sports. She had a vision to improve our recreation programs, fields and parks, because she knows that good parks drive economic development. It's a win-win for everyone. You build beautiful parks and offer recreation programs for all ages that attracts people to come to town, spend the day, shop, go to local restaurants, and even better, buy houses and contribute to make a stronger tax base. People don't want to visit or live in communities that look unkept and run down. To build a parks and rec program, it takes time and money and a community of people who share this vision. Being incredibly resourceful, she's found grant money, donations, and received support from community partners. And every year, her budget has been negatively impacted, and staff who have left have not been replaced. As president of the Norwich Youth Soccer Club, this directly has impacted our program. We've had to ask our volunteers and coaches to do a lot more work, maintaining fields, lining fields, and also incurring the added costs of buying paint, which most recently, unfortunately, we've had to raise our soccer fees to make allowances for these extra costs. Like Cheryl, we like to keep our cost of all our program down for all the people in our communities. What Cheryl and I do have in common is she has a very vested interest, like me, and the parents that sit behind me here tonight, because she grew up in Norwich and benefited from these sports programs.
Please continue.
She knows how important these programs are for the mental, physical, and emotional health of our children and youth. As we learn to live in these post-COVID times, those that have children and work with children understand the positive impact that these programs that Cheryl can offer through the Recreation Department, how important they are to these kids. I've worked with Cheryl since she began her position in my role as a part of the board of directors of the Norwich Youth Soccer Club. She understands our challenges and our frustrations. Some of you may not know this, but Cheryl received one of the highest honors in the state. She was named the 2019 Connecticut Recreation and Parks Association Outstanding Professional for the work that she did to benefit the people that she serves in this very community. What really is incredible to those of us who have worked with Cheryl is that she continues to do this work despite the lack of support that she has received from this town for funding and staff. Our recreation department is not broken. It works. The 2.5 staff members in the recreation are responsive and they care deeply about what they do. What they do need is funding and unconditional support from our council and the city manager. Give Recreation Department back the community engagement coordinator that was in the process of being approved before you voted to slash it from the budget. Anticipate and replace staff when they retire in a timely fashion. There are too many people who do not know about all the good things that Cheryl does, so this position would be a real added valuable part of her team. This would help her to achieve her vision to offer the very best parks and recreation programming for the benefit of all our youth and children to improve their quality of life and the economic development of Norwich. People are leaving Norwich because taxes are high and they feel they're getting nothing in return. You should be looking to be keeping families in Norwich and making Norwich a very desirable place to live. This leads me to moving and merging the recreation maintenance crew over to Public Works. I personally worked alongside with the guys over the years up at the Recreation Department, and I can make a phone call and they are on that project instantly. Permit changes are easy when there is a game change. I just had an issue this past Friday night with a conflict, called the Rec Department, and it was resolved right away. They understand that these things change all the time as a result of weather, cancellations, reffing issues. And so my concern and our concern is who will we call at the last minute for a schedule change when the office hours, they're closed and nobody's there to answer the phone. When permits are needed and they're designated, how do we get those permits and how does that all work? We're going to be working with 2 different departments. It's going to be really confusing. When we have to cancel games, when Public Works has a pop-up crisis or something that happens, a pipe burst or something, how are they going to prioritize all these different tasks? I'm by no means saying that Norwich Public Works is a terrible department. My brother was a member of that, but I do understand that calls go out to the office every single day and they have a lot to contend with. I guess I'm going to have to speed up what I have to say. I appreciate you allowing me some extra time, but if you hear my words and our words tonight, stand by your campaign promises to support our youth and families, and then do the right thing and use your vote to support our community partner in the Recreation Department, Cheryl Hansen-Preston, who truly understands the needs of our community. Do not merge with Norwich Public Works and the Recreation Department. And finally, turf the Fontaine Field. Do not support the budget proposal that is put forth now by the city manager. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Regan Minor, please.
Good evening. My name is Regan Minor, and I reside at 67 East Town Street. For those who don't know me, I'm the Executive Director of the Norwich Historical Society. I'd like to express my profound gratitude to our State Senator, Kathy Austin, for securing state funding for the Norwich Historical Society's Heritage Triangle project. Our plan entails linking Norwich Town sites, which include Leffingwell House Museum, Visitor Center, the Joseph Carpenter Silversmith Shop, and the David Greenleaf House to start, with other cultural destinations like Slater Memorial Museum and the Uncas Leap Heritage Park. The long-range goal is to create a vibrant collection of sites enriched by programs and events and nearby dining and retail opportunities, thus enabling us to keep visitors occupied in Norwich for several hours, if not a whole day. The Heritage Triangle will drive tourism and bring year-long revenue to our city. The Norwich Historical Society has recognized the potential of the historic neighborhood of Norwich Town to be the centerpiece of a major heritage tourism effort. NHS sponsored several initiatives, beginning with stabilizing buildings and opening the Norwich Heritage and Regional Visitor Center located in the Lathrop Schoolhouse. Some of these properties require extensive repair before they can be activated as heritage attractions. NHS is focused on getting Norwich visitor-ready for 2025 to participate in milestone anniversaries, such as the 250th anniversary of the start of the American Revolution and the 350th anniversary of the construction of the Leffingwell House Museum. Time is of the essence in preparing for participation in these local and statewide celebrations. Thanks to Senator Austin securing state funding for our initiative, we will be able to take a step closer to building Norwich as a heritage tourism destination. Our next step is to create a campus between the circa 1675 Leffingwell House Museum, which will be the museum space, and the circa 1763 David Greenleaf House, located directly next door, which will be the handicapped accessible multi-purpose event space. Other future efforts include getting more buildings online, programming, marketing, and beautification efforts. We are so grateful to Senator Austin for her help in giving us this incredible opportunity to make our goals a reality. We hope the city would consider supporting other initiatives and enhancements for the Heritage Triangle with unallocated funds from the American Rescue Plan in the future. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Bill Champagne, please.
Hello, Bill Champagne. My address is 7 Northwest Corner Road, Preston, and I'm the past president of the Norwich Historical Society, and I'm serving on their board at this point. We talked to you at the last public hearing about requesting $500,000 of ARPA money, and that was not recommended. And thank heavens, Kathy Austin and the state legislature came through. Thank you, Kathy. And actually funded the $500,000. So we're off to a great start. There is certainly plenty more to do on top of that $500,000. We're not asking for any ARPA money right now, but there's a chance that we would come back once we get everything lined up. As I said before, at the other public hearing, Norwich is an incredibly authentic place with history going back 400 years. It's fantastic that the Uncas Leap Heritage Park will be finished. That's incredible. Slater Memorial Museum, as you all know, is a landmark in Norwich. And with the $500,000, we'll be able to get a huge start on creating historic Norwich Town and starting the Heritage Triangle. As Regan said, 2025 is a big year, and I think most of you, some of you may not be old enough to remember the bicentennial in 1976, but there was so much interest and hype about history back then. So we see 2025 as a real opportunity for Norwich. I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to say, and the light's blinking, so that's good timing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Those are the people that signed up to speak at the beginning of the hearing. If there's someone else who'd like to speak at this time, just please raise your hand and I'll call on you. You'll go back and forth, left and right sides of the room. Yes, sir. Go ahead, Tucker, please.
Mayor, City Council, my name is Tucker Braddock. I live at 868 Scotland Road in Norwich. I'd like to speak on behalf of the Norwich Harbor Commission. And in particular, our mission that we have at hand is replacing the docks in front of Howard Brown Park. We went to the Port Authority. There was the availability of that. The Port Authority is made up of a consortium of the nonprofit from the state, and it's to take care of the deep water ports, New London, New Haven, and Bridgeport. They also have a component in there called SHIP, Small Harbor Improvement Program. And that is what we applied for. We've been working with Port Authority since 2019, and we did receive an award from them in the amount of, and this award that we received from them was an 80%, 20% split with the city of Norwich. 80-20 Port Authority, 20 with city of Norwich. We did receive $544,000, and the city's share was $120,000. In order to, and DARCO and Mystic did the permitting and the engineering of it, and when it came back to our purchasing agent, Bob Castronova, he and Keith Nielsen from DARCO recommended that we check with Race in Stamford, Connecticut to fulfill the built-out component. The built-out component, they sent a diver down here to visit our site, and when they did that, they found out the pilings had a good deal of decay on them. And we felt there was no point in putting brand-new docks, and our docks have served us very well. Our floats have served very well for 25, 28 years. But they're showing wear. There's a volcanic eruption in the concrete now, and we are now concerned about the safety of them. And so we decided to listen to what Race had to say, and Race made a recommendation to our city to replace all the pilings. And there were 14 of them, and that will require some additional funding from our city. And that also would be on an 80-20 split. This the plan that, all right?
Finish it, please.
The
Go
plan
ahead.
that seems to work for our community and best fulfill the replacement of the docks and the pilings comes to a total of $1,013,000. $1,013,000. And that is predicated on, again, 80-20 split. And with Norwich, with the state of Connecticut, they will contribute. So we have a shortfall of $349,000. They will contribute $275,000, and our shortfall in the 20% factor is $69,958, which I would like to ask our city council to help with this extended commitment, that we replace these docks and we do it the right way, and so that we can get another 25 to 28 years of them. I know this is not a question and answer period, but I'm online, I'm offline anytime if you have any questions. And I would hope that, that we can find the $70,000 to fulfill this obligation. And I thank all of you very much for the privilege for me to talk with you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Again, please, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I've never done this before, so I'm just going to speak to you from the heart. First of all, I'm a member, a resident of Norwich. I've been here for 25 years. My name is Diane Doubleday Swan. I have a lot of family that is from the Norwich area also. And the reason why I want to speak tonight, first of all, I want to tell you a little bit about me.
Excuse me, could we have your address, please?
8 Mountain View Drive, Norwich.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. My husband and I have done foster care for the city for Norwich for 11 years. We have 6 children, 2 biological children and 4 adopted children from Norwich. We have taken in over 16 kids from Norwich, trying to make a better place for them. Our children do soccer. We do soccer all year round. They do soccer in my living room, they do soccer in my backyard, they do soccer wherever they can roll a ball. There are no fields that are good enough for these kids to play soccer safe. My husband coaches, he's been coaching for years. The kids get twisted ankles, they get twisted knees, they're lumpy, bumpy, and they just want to play soccer. Fontaine Field is a beautiful place. It should be turfed. It would be a wonderful place and a proud place when we bring in teams and say, this is our soccer field. Maybe around the outside of it, there could be a track where elderly people, I work with hospice families, I work with elderly people who want to get out and walk. They don't want to sit in their house. They want to take their walkers and their rollators and they want to walk. If you could take that track and make it concrete or something with pavement where they're not lumping and bumping on the rocks. It always begins with the children. We teach it begins with the children. Please do something to help begin with the children in Norwich and give them something to do other than getting in some kind of trouble. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address? Yes, Mr. Brown.
Good evening, Kevin Brown, President, Norwich Community Development Corporation, 66 Franklin. I just wanted to give the council an update on where we are with our current allocation of ARP dollars. And let me be clear, this is not as an appeal for more dollars. I just want you to understand the dollars that have been previously allocated, how the program is functioning right now, and what I see for the future with whatever that next determined allocation might be. So I've provided for you there in hard copy, excuse me, a simple pie chart, but really the dollar value of importance is the fact that of the 36 projects that are currently in the queue, that's a cumulative $6.6 million of investment in improving first floor retail space across the city. The allocation of $2 million that's been provided to NCDC in round one, plus the proposed $1.5 million for round two, that's $3.5 million. You can see from a 50-50 match standpoint, that just about puts us right in the ballpark for being able to put all of those dollars to work. There's a breakout there for you of the current application status. I would tell you that changes on a daily basis. In fact, that top line says in review 7. Today, our leading edge consultant who's managing the program for us did 7 site visits and now have those in the queue for subsequent approval by the business board. You'll note also there's a pre-application design funding awarded dollar figure. Some of these projects have come to us, as you might suspect, as in fact you indicated when we had this first round of conversations, not really in a condition that's ready to fund the project. And so we have been able to help some of these folks get the architectural and design engineering to make the project a reality and more feasible. Just a few other data points before I wrap. This is a cumulative 275,000 square feet of space that will be either activated or remain code compliant in its existing condition. That's really got a median size of about 7,000 feet for any one project. And it represents 141 jobs retained and 86 jobs added in new space. Half or more of these spaces have been vacant or dead for 3 to 5 years or more. So that's where we are currently with the project. Wanted you to know that. And again, I'm not asking for more money. I'm letting you know how the money that you've been giving us is being implemented. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Again, anyone else like to speak to the council about the state budget this time? Or our, yes, ma'am, please.
Julie Cagle, 40 Woodrow Avenue, Norwich. Hopefully, you've read the emails I sent you. I'm going to be very brief because I spoke last week, but I am passionate about the Recreation Department here in Norwich. I feel the Recreation Department is a vital asset to any city and town, and I don't feel that the city has supported it and done it justice. In terms of the maintenance crew moving, there's only 3 gentlemen on that crew taking care of acres and 25 fields. Right now, they're handling it. I'm not sure if you've received any complaints, but I don't believe the Norwich Rec Department has received any complaints about it. So if it's not broken, why try to fix it? I also volunteered for 2 years on a community center committee and gave my time to that, and that didn't go anywhere. So it's a little disheartening to come here again, emailing you and speaking to you about trying to support the rec department. It deserves it, and I hope you would consider some of the proposals that are here that are detrimental to the recreation department, and it needs to be staffed appropriately. That's pretty much what I need to say, because I've said it to you a number of times again, but I took the effort to come down here tonight to reinforce how strongly I feel, and I believe a lot of people in this city feel the same way. Unfortunately, people don't want to come to hearings like they used to. So, thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Tricia Belargin. I live at 15 Whittington Avenue, previously 618 Laurel Hill Road, before that 35 Rogers Avenue, always in Norwich. I have nothing prepared. I just want to say that I'm addressing this whole issue with the rec department. I'm concerned about you merging that with the Department of Public Works. The rec department has done wonderful things for our kids, and I'm just concerned that if you merge them, if some other thing comes up, those fields will not be cared for. These are things that I want you to consider. I know that you're going to do what you choose to do, but I'm a lifelong resident. I'm not someone who just came recently and I'm making decisions. You're going to make your decisions, but things that need to be considered. It's not always the bottom line money, because I'm paying my taxes. I need to see something. My child does not even play on these fields anymore. He's in high school, but these have kept these kids busy and have them things to do. It's not always the bottom line like that. They need things to do. And also, if we have other teams come in from other towns, we need to represent Norwich well. We can't cancel a game to say our field isn't mowed because they couldn't get to it because there was a water main break. A water main break needs to be addressed. I realize that. But these things also need to be considered. So when you're making your decision, consider how you're going to address all these issues and how, if we have an issue with a field, how we can address that and who do we go to and are they available at all times? I don't have anything prepared, so that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak to the council on budget or American Rescue Dollar plans at this time? Yes, Beryl, please.
Beryl Fishbone, 19 Bliss Place. On behalf of the Department of Public Works, I'm with the Mohegan Park Committee, and we'd like to compliment the Department of Public Works for everything that they do and how well they keep up our park, and how quickly and how well they respond when we say we think we have a problem. So I just wanted you to know, Pat, that we do appreciate you. And I'd be very confident with moving the maintenance of the parks to the Department of Public Works. And on that note, I'd like to have you take a look at the budget again. And there were some things that were removed. And I'd like you to put them back, please, somehow. Because in order for tourism to become a staple in Norwich, first you have to clean it up. You have to make it pretty. If you want to have a walking city, then you have to have sidewalks, and they have to be in good condition. Your roads have to be in good condition. Your parking areas must be accessible. I'm not sure what's wrong with the bucket truck, but please fix it. $12,000. The turn mower? Really, guys? And to have a city that's down in a plow? Really? Come on. You know we need those things. You also know that every time that the city has needed funding, the first place that you've been going has been Public Works. And that's the thing that people see first. No, not a department, but what they're seeing are the results of that department. They're seeing the sidewalks, they're seeing the streets. And those are the things that will build your tourism. And if you want a lesson in tourism, I'm available. I'll be happy to do it for you. But please, please, support Public Works and everything that it's trying to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Again, anyone would like to join us and speak to the council on the budget and/or American Rescue dollars at this time? Yes, sir, please.
Hello, Mayor. Hello, Council. Andrew Daigle, 54 Mohegan Park Road. I've been a lifelong resident, been a volunteer for Laurel Hill Department for 21 years. I believe in doing something for the rec department because you go through Greenville, look how many kids are running the street. A lot of kids running the street. Some families can't afford to go to soccer or whatever. If the city can put some money in to get kids off the street, that would make it better for us, make it better in the future. I'm asking that we do something or get in a field in Norwich where we can have other teams come here, see that we got a nice field and say, hey, Norwich is a nice place to go play with these kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak to the council at this time, please?
Non-agenda?
No, this is on the budget and/or American Rescue dollars, so you most certainly can, yes?
Non-agenda, okay.
Yeah, anything that deals with the city's budget and/or American Rescue dollar plans, which is pretty broad.
Here we go. How you doing, Mr. Nystrom? Mr. Driscoll,
Nice to see
we've
you.
met. I do believe you are my alderman, and now I'm guessing you know I called you earlier today by now. Okay. My name is Eric Scott. I live at 3133 5th Street. I am a taxpayer and property owner of that property. I'm here to address the ridiculous drug addict, drug dealer, scourge of prostitution and homelessness that surrounds my residence. I'm approached by hookers and prostitutes daily, day or night, doesn't matter. I have a child with Down syndrome. This is not acceptable around my home. The supply seems to be living in the mill, the old Cape Hart mill. Now, I know at one time that mill was slated for demolition. I also know that at this time, the property owners that are currently current on their taxes, so there is no real motivation for them to be forced to remove this building. They are residing in this building. They are doing drugs in this building. It is a shooting gallery, slang term for, I'm guessing you know what that means. I have talked to, who's the fire marshal? I was informed the fire marshal would be here tonight. Chief, no? Okay. Apparently they have a hand in what's supposed to happen to get that building demolished. I don't know what it's going to take from here. I know it's supposed to happen. The property owners, if I was informed correctly, by Mark Gillot, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is Foot of Fifths Incorporated, a corporation out of New York, apparently owns this building and pays its taxes. The downside of that is they are absolutely liable for the activities in and on their property. It is absolutely overrun with drugs, dealers, addicts, and prostitutes. I'd love to ask what may be done to help this. It's mighty quiet, guys.
During the hearing, we listen to you. We don't,
fair enough,
not
fair
back and forth, that's all.
Fair
We are
enough.
hearing you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. I will try to contact you at another time, also revolving around all of this stuff, if you don't mind. Is email good for you? Yep. Fair enough. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I think I've said enough.
Thank you, sir. Again, anyone here? Yes, sir, please.
City Council, I was here a couple weeks ago with a situation with taxes due on the property that I was renting. Well, I still am in there. And I got a lot of insight from Attorney Block, also from the mayor. I called and spoke to his secretary. But now there seems to be another issue that is, I can't say killing, but it's hampering my shop from running. There has been a problem with parking. I had called Councilwoman Tracy Berto, I believe it was a week and a half ago. She came to the barber shop and we spoke briefly. She stepped away and she tried to come up with a solution that still is hampering my business. You have a store, people are in and out of a store within a 5 or 10 minute range. But when you have a barber shop or you're braiding hair, there was a lot more people that sounded off on this, but it looks like I'm probably like the only one that's got guts enough to come in here and try to reasonably talk to council without getting flagrant with words or whatever. I cut hair for a living. There is no way that I can have 2 or 3 customers that are sitting there. A service takes 30 minutes or more. I'm doing a head and a beard. If I got 2 more people waiting, that's an hour. Now they've been hearing about the tickets that have been wrote, so now that chases them away. They look at the sign like this and they drive away, and I'm waving yo, 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 and they keep going, okay? But I was told that to get the ticket and go down there and complain and it'll be wiped off. But here we go again. That's a lot of drama. People are just looking for a service to come and go. That 30 minutes is not enough time. It means that every time somebody comes in, I'm not allowed to let nobody else in the shop. We're not in COVID situation again like that yet. It is killing business. When it comes to a barbershop, that 30-minute thing, you are killing the shop business because people are driving away because you're afraid of the ticket and they're not coming back, calling up on the phone complaining. Since then, that's exactly what happened. I was told to come here on the 16th, okay? Since then, it's been a week and some days, and I've watched, got phone calls, and reacted to that, and where I called Councilman Darrell Wilson to let him know what was going on. I mean, Tracy, she tried to do what she could do, but it's gotta be a solution to this. It's gotta be. I'm asking for your help. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Again, anyone that has not had a chance to speak to council at this time on the city's proposed budget as adopted at this time and/or American Rescue Dollars spending plan, please let us know. You want to address the council if you haven't had that chance. Again, if anyone would like to speak to the council on matters with the budget or American Rescue Dollars, one third final request. If anyone has not had a chance to speak yet, please do so now. We're happy to listen to you. Seeing no one else then, at this time, I then declare this hearing to be closed. And thank you all for your intent and interest and concerns. Council, please come to order. We'd all stand, please. We'll be led in prayer by President Pro Tem Joe DeLucia.
Almighty God, we ask for your blessing upon the members of this council as we assemble here in this chamber to conduct the ongoing business of our city. With your guidance, we will strive to ensure that all our decisions are for the common good, and your inspiration will instill respect, compassion, and thoughtfulness in all our deliberations. Give us the strength and the wisdom to lead by example as the people's representatives, and that peace and harmony will mark all of our proceedings. And keep us faithful to the trust placed in us by the citizens of your community. Amen.
Amen. Alderman Swanji Singh, Kalesa, please. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. First on our agenda is citizen comment general. I declare that open, and first person signed up here is Mr. Eric Scott.
Excuse me, Mayor.
He spoke previously, but yes, sorry.
Just a quick point of personal privilege.
Oh, I apologize. Please.
Just before we get started, I would like us to take a moment of silence for the tragedy that took place in Buffalo, New York. I think as a community, us showing that we stand with them, and of course that hate does not or will not be tolerated in a community like ours. So I would love to take a moment of silence, please.
Thank you. It's very appropriate.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if I could ask you to please remain standing. City lost a former alderman and state representative, Peter Kuprak, last week. He also served as a volunteer firefighter for 49 years in the city of Norwich. Actually was a smoke jumper in his younger years when he was out in college, out in the Dakotas. He was a really fine man who gave much back to this community. I'd ask you to please remember him as well. Thank you. Again, on the sign-up sheet for the non-agenda items portion of our meeting, Mr. Eric Scott has signed up, but I believe he spoke previously, and I do not see him here. Mr. Fred Phelps.
My name is Fred Phelps. I live at 17 Sabrina's Court. City Council members, this is the third time I've come before you as the chairman of the Norwich Tennis Committee. I'm here to advocate for the restoration of the Armstrong tennis courts. The last time was to request funding for that project. Between budget appropriations and ARPA funding, this council had allocated enough monies to allow for that project to proceed, for which the Tennis Committee is definitively grateful. It was our understanding the project was set to go to the city purchasing agent so that construction could begin. Apparently now the project has been put on hold, the specific reasoning for which is somewhat difficult to ascertain. There appear to be issues with whether there needs to be 4 or 6 courts and issues surrounding the future status of the adjacent playground. I'm here to let you know the committee unanimously endorsed construction of 4 courts at our last meeting. In conjunction with Cheryl Hanson-Preston, the rec director, without whom this project would never have been initiated or progressed to this point, and with the city's engineers, the committee has done extensive research and has had numerous meetings in order to bring this project to fruition. I would welcome any questions about any information you might want regarding the development of this project on behalf of the committee. The main reason I'm here is to let you know that if the project is continually put on hold, the costs are guaranteed to escalate. The present bid is for 90 days, and we are nearing that deadline. We've been assured that by the contractor that the supply chain issues are causing costs to rise weekly. We've also been informed that if 2 more courts are deemed necessary, for whatever the reason, they can be seamlessly added later to the 4-court project once the 4 courts have been constructed. Moreover, further delaying this project will likely result in the courts having to be constructed next year. Who knows what the cost may be at that point. The City Council has been most accommodating in initially approving funding. The tennis community is very excited and certainly appreciative of that intent. I need to remind you that Norwich taxpayers have donated over $19,000 to this project. It's not a lot compared to the overall cost projection, but without that amount, we would not have had enough funds to reach the project bid given your allotted funding. It would certainly be wrong to delay or worse, eliminate funding giving the community interest in this endeavor. I truly appreciate you listening to me on this issue. I realize your time is valuable, so is mine. Admittedly, I prefer not to be here for the third time to burden you with this once again. I respectfully ask that you please finalize the funding for the courts, the court projects, so we can start construction ASAP. Simply put, the longer we wait, the higher the costs are going to be. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Michael Sokolowski.
I've never been one to be a public speaker, but I have grave concerns with speeding in the town of Norwich that I live in. I live at 40 Convent Ave. I have contacted the police numerous times. They will come out and they will sit at the St. Mary's parking lot for about 2 hours, then they will leave. The speeding then continues. They use Convent Ave as a breezeway through from Golden to Central Ave. There is tons of children in the neighborhood. The children are required to ride their bicycles in the street or on the road with the flow of traffic, so they can't even see who's going to hit them from behind them. And if they ride on the sidewalk, they're told by police officers that they cannot be riding on the sidewalk. I would ask that the city council assist me in some way of getting speed bumps put in on small cut-through streets to make it safe for our children. Because as a firefighter for 12 years with the Yannick Fire Department, I know what a dead body looks like. I do not want to see a dead child, and I'm sure none of you do. So if you guys could assist me, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Barry Tesser, Reliance Health.
Hi, my name is Mary Hinton. I work at Reliance Health, here our community mental health agency in downtown Norwich with Tessa Capiello. We are the co-facilitators for our agency's Gay Straight Alliance, which is made up of staff and members of Reliance, and also some community allies. And so in our last meeting, in preparation for Pride Month, we worked together to write a letter to address to the City Council and the Mayor, and I'd like to read that now. Hello, Mayor Nystrom and Norwich City Council members. We, the members of the Reliance Health Gay Straight Alliance, along with a number of community allies, are reaching out to formally request that a pride flag be hung at the Norwich City Hall for the month of June 2022 and every June thereafter. Pride Month is held each June across the world to celebrate the LGBTQ+ community and their fight for equity, visibility, and the right to live authentically without the threat of harassment, persecution, or violence. Throughout the month of June, the Reliance Health GSA and community allies remember the brave activists of the 1969 Stonewall riots who paved the way towards acceptance, as well as those who continue the fight for equal rights. We ask that the City of Norwich raise a pride flag at the Town Hall as a strong show of support for the city's LGBTQ+ residents and their allies. In doing so, the city will send a clear message to southeastern Connecticut and beyond that Norwich is a safe place for the queer community. We believe that the rich diversity of Norwich is what makes this town so special, and we ask you to continue your mission of celebrating the beautiful cultures and communities that shape our Rose City. In the words of the Reliance Health GSA, seeing a pride flag at the town hall would make us feel like we weren't alone. Pride is friendship, inclusivity, love, hope, and courage. Sincerely, Reliance Health Gay Straight Alliance and community allies.
And just to add also, as Councilman Wilson had mentioned earlier, I think it's important Norwich to take a stand and show that we are allies to the LGBTQIA+ community. Being able to work so closely with the members, residents of Norwich, a lot of people are expressing, given the turbulence of the political climate in our macro system, people don't feel safe. So I think this, while it may seem small, it's a big effort in showing people of Norwich that this is a place that stands for love, community, and support towards the LGBTQ community as is. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Reverend Paul Doyle.
Thank you, council members. My name is Reverend Paul Doyle. I'm pastor of Park Congregational Church here in Norwich. I am also one of the community allies and advisor to the Gay Straight Alliance at Reliance Health, and I'm here in support of their request also to raise the pride flag during the month of June. So I'd appreciate your wonderful consideration to that request. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda Maria Caldborough.
Good evening, members of the Norwich Council. I'm Linda Maria Calabro, and I believe that raising the flag during the month of June, which is representing my Gay Pride Month, and for all the LGBTQ community, that the comfortability in knowing that their acceptance is flying in there will make such a wonderful impact on their daily lives and lives for everyone to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Marvin Cerruto.
Marvin Cerruto, 100 Star Street, Norwich, Connecticut, the Republic of the United States of America. It's general comment, so I'm going to be real general. I wish I was an admiral, but I'm not. I was a first-class petty officer. God before country. This country was founded on the Mayflower Compact. I hope each and every one of you have read it. I won't embarrass you by asking, but if you have not read the Mayflower Compact, it's 120 words. It's like a Dear Abby letter. You can go home tonight and read it. God before country, and I happen to be a Roman Catholic. You notice I'm wearing my Columbus shirt. I'm very proud of Columbus. One of the best sailors that ever was, one of the best Catholics that ever was. Second issue, Article 4, Section 4. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a Republican form of government. 2,400 words. If you have not read the Constitution, I will not embarrass you, but you should go home and read it. I've read it many times, just like I've read the Bible many times. And number 3, revenue expenditures. Which is greater? Revenue expenditures. That's your job. That's your number one goal. I could be living in Lisbon. I could be living in Basra. I could be living in Waterford at 26 mils instead of the 52 I got to pay in Norwich. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak to the council general citizen comment at this time? That does complete those who signed up ahead of time. Please. Go ahead.
Brian Kobelar, 16 Hobart Avenue. Wasn't able to make the public hearing earlier, so I'll put a couple comments in here. I realized after I sat down last week, I had forgot to mention one thing related to the proposal that I gave you, where in future years, prior to the city manager issuing his budget, prior to the departmental budget hearings, you don't wait until the last minute to bring the public in. You have workshops that take place in advance of that. Why a workshop and not a public hearing? Well, public hearings are just like these council meetings. Typically, we speak to you, you don't speak in return. That's basically the rules that you follow. That turns off a lot of people in the public because they don't feel like they're being heard. Probably part of the reason why last week there were only 8 people of the public here and only 3 of them spoke. They don't feel like you're there to listen and engage, and we need that engagement in order to make these budgets so that they work. Marvin just brought up revenue, et cetera, expenses. Well, unfortunately, what we do is we design the expenses first and then do the mill rate based upon that, which is then the revenue. So you set how much you're going to spend, and then we get to fill in the gap. And oftentimes the downtown, the CCD, is the one caught on the short end of the stick. And I know that you've all got your reasons, and other people do too, but as I've said before, it's very political. If we want to be one city, we need to watch each other's backs. And that's something that we haven't been doing here for an awfully long time. It needs to start. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'd also like to speak to the council at this time. Please.
Beryl Fishbone, 19 Bliss Place. I misspoke. Yeah, I made a mistake, and I'm owning up to it. I did not realize, and I had to be corrected, that the money that I saw being taken out of the budget was with the permission of the Department of Public Works. So you guys are off the hook for those. I know that's a great relief. Finally, she won't be yelling at me for something else. But I am going to speak publicly again, saying, please fund the Department of Public Works so that the projects that are so desperately needed within this city can be done. Sidewalks, roads, drains, infrastructure. This is the only opportunity that I have ever seen where there was enough money to be able to actually do something, a complete job. Fund the police department with those extra cameras. Strange things are happening in cities around us. We need to be prepared just so that it won't happen here. Help help the people doing the work make this a better city. Thank you.
Thank you.
One other thing before I forget, and I've got a couple seconds. This is the only copy that I have of the budget, and that was the original one that Mr. Salamone put out. It would be really helpful that instead of my strangely written notes and whatever I can gather from whatever sources I can, if there was one that was maybe kept on the website that was changed periodically, maybe once a month, while this is going on, so that everybody can stay abreast of which changes are being made. Thank you. You might get more participation.
Thank you. And I'd like to speak to council at this time on general citizen comment. Anyone left like to join us on the general citizen comment? Third time, anyone else like to speak to us on the general citizen comment? Seeing no one else, I declare it closed, and thank you all.
Public hearing. A public hearing regarding the affordable housing plan.
I declare the public hearing to be open at this time. If there's anyone here who would like to address the council, we invite you to join us. Again, the council is considering the adoption of an affordable housing plan. This was mandated by the state of Connecticut. If there's anyone who would like to speak to the council on this plan, we'd like to hear from you at this time, please. Again, anyone like to speak to us on the affordable housing plan at this time? Third and final request. Is there anyone here who'd like to speak to us on the affordable housing plan at this time? See no one at this time, I then declare the hearing closed. Thank you.
Petitions and communication. A letter from the Monument Committee in reference to adding the name of Janice A. Stewart to the Rose City Senior Center sign.
Entertain a motion, please, to bring this forward and accept. Alderman Singh, second Alderwoman Berto. Is there discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Berto? Yes. Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes?
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
City Manager's report.
Thank you. This is the city manager's report for May 16th, 2022. Meetings attended were with state representatives and legislators, Southeastern Council of Governments, Southeastern Area Transit, Connecticut Conference of Municipalities, Legislative Committee, Board of Directors meeting, the National League of Cities Trustees Conference sponsored by the Connecticut Interlocal Risk Management Agency. Governor Ned Lamont visited the city on April 21st and met with Mattern Construction, Inc., who was approved for a $2 million Connecticut Communities Challenge grant for the former YMCA property at 337 to 355 Main Street. That was submitted by Norwich Public Works. Mayor Nystrom, Pro Tempore DeLucia, and Alderman Wilson also attended to welcome this exciting project to the city that will redevelop the prominent gateway. It will be matched approximately dollar for dollar by private and other non-state funding. Public Works Department has removed 20 hazardous trees with their bucket truck, including a large tree downtown, and have cleaned and inspected over 300 catch basins for the last few weeks. Annual road paving has begun in downtown at Ferry Street, City Landing, and a portion of Franklin Street. The Community Development Office has received 18 block grant applications requests totaling $1,487,157 for program year 48, which runs from September 1st, 2022 to August 31st, 2023. Anticipated funding from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development is $1,150,769. The Community Development Advisory Committee met on April 26th to finalize their recommendations for council approval in June. Film crews are back in town and Mohegan Park filming in a thriller drama called How to Live Your Best Death. The movie is independently produced by Synthetic Cinema, but is targeted to be shown on the Lifetime Network. I received 2 press releases from the U.S. Department of Justice for the Norwich Police Department's assistance with the FBI Safe Streets Task Force for the prosecution and imprisonment of local drug dealers. Thank you again to David Bishop, who refurnished the welcome/no wake boy sign in the Norwich Harbor. Mr. Bishop continues to volunteer his painting services to beautify the city. Congratulations to Ross Blitterman, Naomi Labajos, Naelis Martinez, and Rachel McNally, recipients of the 35th Annual Norwich Youth Service Day Awards. And that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you, John. The questions of the city manager. President Pro Tem, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one correction in the second paragraph regarding the governor's visit. It was Alderman Singh, not Alderman Wilson, that attended that day.
My apologies.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Additional questions? Alderman Wilson.
Thank you, President Pro Tem DeLucia, for picking up on that. I was going to bring it up as well. The only other thing that I have, and it's more of a question as to, or request hopefully, that an updated snapshot of where the budget is at this point, as well as the ARPA allocations after tonight's meeting. Could that be something that is updated on the website for individuals to view?
Yes, the budget is downloaded to the, to our webpage. I would defer to our controller who was here tonight to let me know if, how we update it.
Good evening, everybody. Sure, I can post an updated list of ARPA projects and maybe like a 2-page summary for the budget. I don't want to reproduce the 150-page document until it's finished, but maybe I'll put together like a 2-page summary if that's meets.
That'd be totally fine. Just kind of the changes so that they know the overall kind of executive summary of where we are.
Okay, sure.
And then the only other one, and hopefully we can, it's not for you, so thank you, is knowing we have the updated, where we're going to be as far as projects, requests, and things of that sort for ARPA. The request I would still have is as festivals and things are coming up, we figure a way to not only just put it out there, but have possible poster boards or display the listing so it's visible for those coming in and out of City Hall, going to different festivals and events that are going to be taking place over the next several weeks in town, to know what's we're proposing or looking at as proposals for the American Rescue dollars. I think the more visibility we have, even if it's just the pure piece of people having conversations in the streets, on the sidewalks and whatnot about what is out there, I think it's important that we have that dialogue allowed. Again, I've said I don't mind manning a table or booth if I have to for several hours, but the other big part is, as several people said tonight during the public hearing, you know, not everyone can make it to a budget hearing, and I'm, again, of the notion we meet people where they are. One additional voice is greater than us not trying. So that's a big piece for me, and hopefully we can work something out over the next week or so. So thank you.
Thank you. I would only add to your concern about the ARPA dollar plans is that is not under the same time constraint as our city budget adoption. So in fact, taking in information and sharing information can in fact continue beyond the last date that we have to act on the city's budget. We're not limited to about a 3, at maximum 4 week. Right now, we're looking to adopt the budget, I believe, June 6th, and since the state budget is in fact complete, I see no reason why we would go beyond that date, but the adoption of a spending allocation for ARP 2, if we call it that, is not limited to June 6th as well. I'd just like to share that with everyone here on the council, so dialogue can continue. Yes, Alderman Wilson.
I think the bigger point is we plan on, or one of the proposals is to use ARPA funding in this budget. So it has some bearings, part of that request, on the overall part of what we do for this budget. And you know, I would just hate to, even though we can have conversations on many of the projects beyond that point, knowing that there is a portion of this budget and how it was crafted that relies somewhat on that is important for us to continue to do that outreach. You know, I'm of the notion as much outreach as we can give is better than us not attempting it. So that's kind of where I stand on that. So thank you.
Thank you. No disagreement. Is there further discussion at this time? The city manager's statement? Seeing none, thank you.
New business resolutions. Number 1, relative to an amendment of the 22-23 budget to adjust revenue estimates and increase regional animal control services. Oops, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I forgot to say it's a common resolution.
Yeah. At this time, we're going to have citizen comment on resolutions.
Sorry.
That's okay. Again, there are 9 resolutions on the agenda. If anyone would like to speak to any of them at this time, we'd invite you to join us at the podium. Again, anyone would like to address us on any of the resolutions before us this evening? We invite you to join us. Please state your name and address if you wish to join us. And you have 3 minutes. Again, third call. Anyone like to speak to us on the resolutions before us on this agenda this evening? We'd like to hear from you. Okay, thank you very much, and declare it to be closed at this time.
Number 1, relative to an amendment of the 22-23 budget to adjust revenue estimates and increase regional animal control services.
Motion at this time, please, to bring it forward. Alderman Gould, second. Alderwoman Berto. Is there discussion? Yes, President Pro Tem.
I would ask the city manager to ask the comptroller to come forward and just give us the brief reasoning, rationale, behind this change, if you don't mind. Just so that the public understands what we needed to do.
Sure. There's 3 items on this resolution. After the state's budget was signed into law, it changed the motor vehicle cap, which had been set at 29 mils, and moved it to 32.46 mils. And as a result, that reduced the amount of the revenue sharing grant that offsets our loss in motor vehicle taxes. When I calculate the actual change in motor vehicle taxes, it increases our revenues, thereby reducing the tax levy on real estate and personal property. And the 2 of those together are actually a net increase in revenues. The third item is the Regional Animal Control Services contract. It is going up approximately $10,000 due to an increase in their per capita rate and an increase in our population. They use the Department of Public Health statistics each year, and the rate increased about 5%, and the population went up 2.6%. So the 2 of those together caused the $10,000 increase. So the net impact of all of the 3 of these items is a reduction in the tax levy of $26,929, which reduces the mill rate by 0.02 mils in the general fund.
You have the floor.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Is any further questions? I think none. Roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Berto? Yes. Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
It's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Number 2, relative to amendment of the American Rescue Plan Act allocations.
Motion, please, to bring this forward. Alderman Wilson, second. Alderman Singh. Third discussion. Alderman Wilson.
As we know, last meeting, this was one of the lines that, as we were going through the ARPA, that I had questions about, so I'm glad that we've kind of got it clarified. Again, I think that the bigger piece that I want to put out there, one, nothing's final as far as any of this. This is a tentative change. But I think the bigger picture, and I've said it before, is even beyond these ARPA dollars being spent, it's our role, also the city manager's role, to look at how many of these things happen beyond the use of these funds. So I think community engagement overall is something where we find a larger plan on how it happens within the everyday structure of our city departments as it is now. and try to continue to maximize it, because this is something that even once these funds are gone, we still need that community engagement as a city. So I think, you know, us figuring out those things and continue to work out that process is important, but I am in support of this change.
Thank you. Is there further discussion or questions? President Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. The other item that's in here, just for the public's information, is $50,000. The city has to update the plan of conservation and development every 10 years. That is normally something we would carry in our budget this year because of the opportunity and the appropriateness of of placing it in the ARPA money. That's not being passed on to taxpayers, but is an important project that bears some expense. As the public can see, it's $50,000. So I'm happy that we were able to move that out of the budget, but still fund it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The further discussion? Roll call then, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderman Gold?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Number 3, relative to reallocate funds from the capital budget for replacement of City Hall roof.
Motion, please, to bring this forward. Alderwoman Gould, second. Alderwoman Berto. Is there discussion? President Pro Tem.
Yes, with the city manager's permission, if we could have comptroller come to the podium again. So this resolution came up twice during public comment?
Yes.
Or actually once during the hearing and once during public comment. And I still don't think that there was a clear understanding by the members of the public of where this money actually came from. As I understand it, these are completed projects or purchases that had overages. This is the leftover money, and we are reallocating that money toward the roof maintenance.
Right. The only one that wasn't a completed project is Dodd Stadium improvements. It's money that was set aside, let's see, 2 years ago for improvements as they become necessary at Dodd Stadium. But the more pressing need and why we're bringing this forward to you now is to secure funding to repair the roof, the flat roof portion of City Hall, to prevent leaks. This room itself has had a couple of leaks that would be prevented by repairs to the flat roof. So, you know, if funding is needed at some later time for Dodd Stadium, we could always put that in a later capital budget.
Thank you for pointing that one out. I'd forgotten about that one, but thank you for that explanation.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Berto? Yes. Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Number 4, relative to the adoption of the Affordable Housing Plan.
Motion, please, to bring this forward. Alderman Singh, Alderwoman Berto. Is there discussion? Alderman Wilson.
First, I would like to commend the individuals that worked on putting this plan together. It was a very comprehensive report plan, and I appreciate the diligence that the group put together to put forth such in-depth report. You know, just overall, just things for us to think about. You know, as a community, we talk taxes and just what it's going to look like or where we are, and some of the things that, you know, kind of jump out to me at the, you know, from the report, you know, when it said the median income for Norwich approximately is $57,565, which is lower than the county average, you know, is something for me to keep in mind as we're doing this overall budgets, but also making decisions for a community of our size. I think the other big thing is we talk homelessness, but also poverty. 10.3% is something that I keep in mind as a member, as you know, those are individuals that need some sort of service or assistance from us as a community. You know, the other big one for me was looking at the overall list where it, you know, it talks about 38% of the housing stock was built prior to 1929, 29% prior to 1969, 24% before 1999. You know, those are large numbers, and for me, that's, you know, as a council, you know, us looking down the road, how we help not only those homeowners, but even these different complexes that do exist to be maintained, but also within the scope of affordable. So providing the necessities for a family that it does move into those facilities, a good quality of living. So, you know, those are things that we have to think about as a city, that people that live here, they move here to work and stay, making sure that even though we have the necessities, that there is also a piece that continues to allow the housing stock to be improved through different avenues. So again, I want to thank and appreciate those that put the report together. It was a wonderful report, and thank you again.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Alderman Singh.
Yes, I just want to add that it was a very good plan, and a lot of things were eye-opening in it. Also, I want to highlight we are at 19.3% with our affordable housing stock, but like a lot of people ask me, so is city denying affordable housing more? But so I don't think so. We are denying any more affordable housing, but the report does mention we are way above the stock that state requires us, which is 10%, and we are at 19.3%. Also, it was another thing that 49% renters are paying more than 30% of their income in housing. So it also highlights the fact that affordability is an issue in Norwich. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Pro Tem? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Berto.
I actually just want to echo the sentiment of Alderman Wilson and Alderman Singh. I think it was a very detailed plan and very eye-opening. And I agree with Alderman Singh that, you know, it takes the average person, you know, more than 30% of their income to pay their rent, which I don't agree with.
Thank you. Alderman Wilson.
Just one other thing I wanted to, you know, in our first round of ARP funds, we gave money towards Habitat for Humanity, which has done wonders in this community. And I think giving a kudos of us taking a step or a leap of faith in an organization that has done great work nationwide, but allowing them to be a part of building this community. I think giving them the kudos of putting those dollars in that direction is commendable. I mean, I think it's us increasing home ownerships, individuals taking pride in the community, building the community up is amazing. So I think us doing that, and then on top of that also using CDBG funds to improve some of our housing developments has been amazing. So, you know, I want to give the Community Development Office as well as many of the other offices that have worked with making sure that we're doing our part in this community to address some of the things that I talked about, making sure that they're on the forefront every single day. So I want to also thank them for that. So thank you.
Thank you. President Pro Tem.
Thank you. So I appreciate and respect the comments of my colleagues up here on the council, and I also applaud the depth and the breadth of the of the report. It's very valuable information in there, and it is eye-opening. But I do have one bit of dissent in it, and it's a little bit personal, not in a negative way, but I look at things from how much have we improved, and where were we at one time versus where we are now, and there should always be improvement. And I believe that the city's affordability in certain sectors has improved, and I'll give you a concrete example. The house that I now live in was built the year that I was born. At that time, my parents, who were straight up middle class, could have never in a million years afforded to live in the house that I now own. So the fact that I'm there, I'm living in a 3-generational house, I have both my children lived with me in this house at one time, speaks a volume to how much the affordability in the city of Norwich has improved. Are we 100% to where we need to be? Absolutely not. But are we a far cry from where we were nearly 60 years ago? Yes, we are. So again, I appreciate the report. I value the report. But I just caution, let's not forget where we've come from and how far we've come. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion at this time? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Berto? Yes. Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes?
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Number 5, relative to the sale of beer and wine at the Rose Arts Festival on Chelsea Parade.
Motion, please, to bring this forward. Alderwoman Berto, is there a second? Alderwoman Gould, is there discussion? Pro Tem?
I'm just so happy that we're finally scheduling outdoor events again in this community. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Alderwoman Berto.
I agree with President Pro Temp. I'm very happy to see outdoor activities and events, and I'm excited to go.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes?
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Number 6, relative to adding the name Janice A. Stewart to the Rose City Senior Center sign.
Motion, please, to bring this forward. Alderwoman Gould, second by Alderman Singh. Is there discussion? Alderwoman Gould.
Let me be the first one to say that adding Jan Stewart's name, to the senior center sign is absolutely positively the least we could do for Jan Stewart. Even though she retired from the city 22 years ago, she left an indelible mark on our city and especially on our senior center and our seniors. She continually fought for what was right and fair for them, sometimes an overlooked and underserved population in our community. She really fought hard to get that senior center for them on Mahan Drive. She and her husband, were staunch supporters of everything Norwich. We miss her. And I think it's a fitting tribute to her memory that we put her name on that sign, because she was the leader of the pack to get that building built for the Norwich seniors. Thank you.
Thank you. For further discussion, President Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. This one's a little bit personal for me as well. As I say, I knew Mrs. Stewart for a long time, but more appropriately, she knew me. Her husband, Ray, coached my City League basketball team. Their son, Rick, is one of my closest friends in the world. Jan was just absolutely a great lady. I wrote down just a couple of notes here. She definitely was a champion for our seniors and for the senior center. she's a lifelong servant of this community, and she was the matriarch of a family that is literally woven into the city, and this is a fitting way to honor her legacy. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Alderwoman Berto.
I was very proud to vote yes on putting her name on the bench. Just to highlight a couple of awards she's won. She's won the Dr. Singer Award for the Prevent Blindness Connecticut and the Board of Education Services for the Blind, and the President's Volunteer Action Award from President Ronald Reagan. So I was very, very proud to vote yes.
Thank you. Alderman Singh.
Well deserved.
Yes, thank you. So again, it was my pleasure to make a motion for that in Monument Committee. And we should acknowledge more of these grassroots level people who worked hard for our community. And I personally feel we should do it when they are with us. So that's something we as a council or, people of Norwich should also bring their requests forward. That when they see people working tirelessly for our community, somehow we should acknowledge them and recognize them one way or another. But thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? I would only add that Alderman Singh, you raised a very good point. It would have been very fitting, but her passing in the manner in which it happened was a little bit sudden. This was something that I had thought of in prior years myself, but I can tell you I spoke with her son Kevin this afternoon, and I stayed in touch with her family throughout this process. They are extremely grateful for the honor that we are, in fact, providing here. You would not have found a stronger voice advocating for the rights of seniors than this woman, Jan Stewart. She had strong convictions. She spoke her mind. She was really a leader and a champion for them. In addition to the name on the sign, there will be a plaque inside the building of a relief of her, as well as listing her accomplishments, many of them which are cited here in this resolution. I think it's very fitting. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes?
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Number 7, relative to an appointment to the Youth Service Advisory Board.
Motion, please, put this on the floor. Alderwoman Gould, second Alderman Wilson. Is there discussion? Alderman Wilson?
So I will start by saying I am thrilled for Carolyn Turner to be a member of the Youth Advisory Board. She is a major supporter of our youth in this community, and it is only fitting that someone of her ability and deep compassion serve in a role on a board that is catered to our youth and whatnot. And I'm just, again, ecstatic that she is stepped forward to be a part of such an important advisory board in our community.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? I'll simply add that I've known Kara since she was a little girl, because I knew her grandparents. I knew them very, very well. Great family. And she is truly a leader in supporting of the youth of the city of Norwich. And if you want to spend some time with her, go to a night flight basketball game, because she'll be there, right at courtside. All right, roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes?
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Number 8, relative to an appointment to the Harbor Management Commission.
Harbor. Motion, please. Alderman Wilson, and second by Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion? Alderman Wilson.
Again, I I am thrilled, of course, to have someone such as David Bishop to step forward and be a part of such an important board and commission here in the city. I will be excited to work with him on the Harbor Management Commission. He has done some great work in restoring and keeping Norwich fresh, as I would like to put it. So I can only wait and see the amazing things and ideas he will help bring to the Harbor Management Commission. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Bertle?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderman Gold?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Number 9, relative to amending Round 1 American Rescue Plan Act allocation to scholarships for the 2022 rec summer camp.
Motion, please. Alderman Gould, second by Alderman Singh. Is there discussion? Alderwoman Gould?
I'm happy to support this resolution. I think adding the funding for 2022 rec summer camp, money for scholarships for rec summer camp is just a fantastic way to enhance the activities that we offer to children living here in the city of Norwich. May give some of them a chance to go to camp that haven't in the past. And I think it's $100,000 well spent on the youth of our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Alderman Wilson?
So I will say I was more than happy to put forth the idea of this resolution being spending money on our youth. I think we sit up here, and one of the biggest things that I always continue to say, especially when it comes to the American Rescue dollars, is how does it impact our families and our community? And this is a prime example of we've watched kids over the last 2 summers suffer as far as getting out and being a part of recreational activities. They may have existed, but with families having shortcomings or shorter programs, this is the summer, I want to see more kids be able to have the opportunity to get out and be a part of the summer camp program that we provide here in the city. I think the other big piece for me is knowing that as families still deal with childcare issues and the overall cost of summer camp in the middle of still making their way out of the pandemic and the impact that it's had, this is the right thing to do. When I look at this resolution, this is 90-plus kids that will benefit from being a part of some type of interaction socially with their peers throughout the summer. Over whether it's a week, the 7 weeks of the program, this is important. The last piece is I look at it as a way for us to, as I like to call it, safe summer. It keeps our kids active away from things that may have not been safe options. It provides a chance for families to have a child care setting or system in place, and they can go and work to provide for their families. So I think, this is a way where we are congratulating, but also commending the rec department for the structure of their summer program that they provide for this community and giving them the resources necessary to continue to develop and serve our children in this community and its families. So I am more than happy that this resolution is being brought forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Alderman Singh?
Yes, I also welcome this resolution, and I will say in my terms it's a good investment because we're investing in our youth, and especially with this whole inflation thing going on and gas prices, and people have kids, it's just hard for them sometimes to spend that kind of money if they have 2-3 kids. So I think this is a very good investment, and we should be looking further down how we can help people in this time with American Rescue Plan Act money, with all the ARP funds we have. So I totally welcome and I am in support of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. President Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. So I would just like to take a moment to thank Alderman Wilson for digging his heels in on this. He mentioned this to me in a conversation about the ARPA money maybe 2 months ago. And, we kicked around the idea. We knew it was a good idea, but we were struggling with how we were going to pay for it, where the money was going to come from, with competing entities looking for the ARPA money, all valid in their own right. And as I just said, Darrell dug his heels in, kept saying, I really want to do this. It's the right thing to do. We need to get the kids into the summer camp. And this one could have very easily slipped through the cracks, but Darrell wouldn't let it. And he deserves the credit for being steadfast and stubborn that this was going to happen this summer for these kids. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Alderman Berto.
I just want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues. I think it's a fantastic way for the, I think it's well-spent money, and it also helps children who wouldn't be able to go to summer camp to go, and I think that's just awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
New business ordinance, number 1, an ordinance amending section 9.28 of the Norwich Code of Ordinances by amending the annual fees to be charged for each truck used by commercial haulers for the disposition of solid waste and other material collected in Norwich and disposed of at a facility operated by Southeastern Connecticut Regional Resource Recovery Authority.
Thank you. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to raise this for a public hearing, waive the full text and reading at this time, and to schedule a public hearing for June 6th. Alderwoman Gould, is there a second? Alderman Singh. Roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
7-0.
Motion passes for public hearing on June 6th, 7-0.
Number 2, an ordinance amending section 2.89 of the Norwich Code of Ordinances, part of Article 7, Commission for Persons with Disabilities, to reduce the total number of members on the commission from 9 to 7, and to reduce the number of members required to be selected from certain categories.
Thank you. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to raise this for public hearing to be scheduled on June 20th. That motion also waive the full text and reading at this time, and that it also be referred to the Reappointment Committee of the Council during such time. Motion by Alderwoman Gould, second by Alderman Wilson. Roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
7-0.
Motion passes 7-0 for public hearing on June 20th.
Number 3, an ordinance repealing Section 16-4 of the Norwich Code of Ordinances.
This time, I'd ask for a motion to raise this for a public hearing, waive the full text and reading at this time, and to schedule it for June 20th. Alderwoman Gould, second Alderman Singh. Roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to
Second.
adjourn by Alderwoman Gould. Is there a second? Alderman Singh. Roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion
you.
Passes 7-0. We are adjourned. Thank you.